The Non-Bank Financial Institutions Regulatory Authority, NBFIRA, is a regulatory authority in Botswana responsible for overseeing and regulating the non-bank financial institutions.
NBFIRA is mandated to contribute to the stability of the local financial sector, and this is done through the effective and efficient regulation and supervision of the NBFI sector. So NBFIRA regulates with the goal of ensuring that, or creating an environment that fosters financial soundness of the entities that we regulate, as well as good market conduct. This all leads to minimizing systemic risk. Now, systemic risk is the risk that the entire NBFI sector may be significantly negatively challenged or even collapse due to an unfortunate event or series of events. In addition to that, NBFIRA is also responsible for ensuring that the sector complies with anti-money laundering obligations locally and internationally. According to the NBFIRA 2024 annual report that was recently published, the report highlights that the sector consists of approximately 860 entities, speaking again to just the sheer size of the sector. The total assets of all these entities is 160 billion approximately, and this accounts for approximately 54% of market share of the local financial services sector. This gives our listeners a greater appreciation of the sheer size and scope of the NBFI sector, and of course its contribution to our economy and the well-being of Botswana as they interact with us and transact business with our sector.
In order to keep the public informed and protected, NBFIRA provides key insights into the rights and responsibility of individuals by engaging with the non-banking sector, as it is crucial for customers to understand how to conduct business ethically and responsibly.
There are quite a number of these rights and responsibilities for consumers. I will start off with it being the consumer's responsibility to ensure that the service provider you want to transact business with is licensed by NBFIRA. You can verify this in a number of ways. Firstly, the NBFIRA license should be displayed in the place of operation, somewhere where it is visible to all customers as they walk in. Secondly, a consumer may contact NBFIRA to verify if indeed an entity is licensed, or they can check for themselves on our website, as we maintain an updated list of licensed entities. Another responsibility that a consumer has is to ensure that they understand thoroughly the terms and conditions of the service that they're seeking to procure. It is their responsibility to ask all the relevant questions, to read and understand all the terms and conditions, and this includes charges that could be levied in that policy or service, penalties, exclusions. Exclusions are circumstances under which the consumer would not be able to benefit from that service or policy should certain events happen. It is the consumer's responsibility to read those, understand them, ask enough questions, satisfy themselves before signing a contract. Because once they have signed, it is legally binding, because they have now committed themselves to be bound to those very terms and conditions of that policy.
One key responsibility of consumers in the financial services market is to provide accurate and truthful information when engaging with non-bank financial institutions. Should a consumer, for whatever reason, omit to disclose certain information that was requested or misrepresent themselves, it has the potential to have negative ramifications in the long run. For example, if a consumer is applying for insurance policy and at the onset they misrepresent information, when it comes time for them to claim and the insurer discovers that they had misrepresented information to the insurer will be well within their rights to refuse to honor that insurance claim. And this is because the information submitted by the consumer informs the insurer on how they can calculate the risk
of taking on that consumer as a client. So the information is critical to the insurer. So therefore, lack of disclosure or misrepresentation has significant ramifications. Meaning that when a consumer is aggrieved, we require that before they escalate their matter to NBFIRA, they must first lodge their complaint or grievance in writing to the entity concerned, follow the entity's complaints procedure, and then once they've received an outcome, if they are still aggrieved, then they can consolidate all that correspondence and submit it to us. Alternatively, if they have lodged their complaint to the entity and have not received a response within a reasonable period of time, they are still welcome to take that correspondence that they have, as well as supporting documentation, and submit it to NBFIRA. How we then assess these matters is that we look at all the relevant documentation. We seek to establish if due process was followed when this customer was being assisted, and also whether the entity complied with the relevant industry laws pertaining to this particular complaint matter. We then make our determination having established those facts. There are some common scenarios that NBFIRA comes across in terms of the complaints submitted to ourselves. An example within the retirement funds industry is a situation where a pensioner who retired, they commuted their lump sum, and they bought an annuity and have been receiving a monthly income for some time, encounter some financial challenges in their lives, and therefore they then wish to encash their remaining pension fund credit in order to alleviate the financial distress they find themselves under. Under these circumstances, the Retirement Funds Act, which is one of the key pieces of legislation governing the pension funds, does not permit a pensioner to encash their pension fund credit in totality, because this would go against the very purpose of a pension, which is to provide an income for a pensioner post their working life. We do find that sometimes members of the public may not fully understand that as much as the funds are theirs, but their access to those pension funds are actually governed by the Retirement Funds Act, and they can only be accessed under certain conditions and circumstances as stipulated in the Act. That is one of the common complaints that we receive from the retirement funds industry. And then lastly, I'd like to encourage members of the public to contact us. They can call us on 368-6100. Alternatively, they may email us at info@nbfira.org.bw and follow us through our social media platforms or inquire through them as well. And we will duly respond to the inquiries that we receive.